This is KOKH-TV, Oklahoma City.
From Fox 25, this is the 9 o'clock news.
I've made a lot of people very angry at me, and you know, that's just a shame. Because I am trying to protect the public safety here, and it's just too bad. That's the way it's going to have to be.
Fred Jordan, the state's chief medical examiner, speaks out in anger about the mysterious death of Kenneth Michael Trenadu, a Fox 25 News exclusive. Good evening, I'm Kirsten McIntyre.
And I'm Damon Gardenhire in for Jack Bowen. Tonight, a major development in an ongoing Fox 25 News investigation. The state's chief medical examiner says it's taking too long to find out what really happened to an inmate who died inside Oklahoma City's Federal Transfer Center nearly 2 years ago. And tonight, Fred Jordan is demanding the local bombing grand jury investigate the mysterious death of Kenneth Michael Trenadu. Fox 25's Phyllis Williams has been following this case for more than a year now. Phyllis, Jordan really rarely gives interviews. Why is he doing it today?
Well, Damon, he says he's simply fired up and he wants action. Jordan says if Kenneth Michael Trenadu was murdered or if anybody else is murdered at the Federal Transfer Center, the public has the right to know. But Jordan says that's not happening. Do you believe he was murdered?
I think it's very likely he was murdered. I'm not able to prove it. I have temporarily classified the death as undetermined. You see a body covered with blood, removed from the room, as Mr. Trenadu was, soaked in blood, covered with bruises, and you try to gain access to the scene, and the government of the United States says, no, you can't. They continued to prohibit us from having access to the scene of his death, which is unheard of in 1997, until about 5 months later, we went in there and luminoled, and it lit up like a candle because of the blood still present on the walls of the room after 4 or 5 months. But at that point, we have no scene. We have no crime scene. So there are questions about the death of Kenneth Trenadu that will never be answered because of the actions of the United States government. Whether those actions were intentional or whether they were through incompetence, I don't know. And it's not easy to communicate with the federal government. It was botched. Or worse, it was planned.
Why is there a problem? Is there a problem?
Well, you tell me why there's a problem.
Is there a problem? Could it be because the family will not let this go?
Would you, if it were your relative?
There are some people who would question why you feel so strong about this case, because after all they go, it's just an inmate.
It's not just an inmate. Mr. Trenadu might be somebody I wouldn't let in my house. But let me tell you something. He's a human being, or was a human being. And I'm not saying I like these guys. I'm not saying I wouldn't be terrified if you put me out there with them. But I'm saying that they're our responsibility. And I'm saying that the investigation of their deaths is my responsibility as long as I'm chief medical examiner. And damn it, I'm going to do it, regardless of what I have to do. Now, the other thing is, do you think that the prison system, do you think that the court system is so accurate and so effective that there is no one in jail that's innocent? If you do, I have a piece of shore property just outside of El Reno. I want to sell you it. I think that we need an Oklahoma County grand jury made up of Oklahoma County citizens, in which the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Oklahoma, Mr. Ryan, can participate, where the people in Washington cannot forbid him to do that, that he can participate in our investigation as an Oklahoman, as somebody concerned about our city.
Have you tried contacting Reno?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have.
And what's happening?
Yes, I have. Let me tell you about that. Back when we were still investigating the bombing, because Mr. Trenadu died shortly after the bombing, I, the medical examiner for the state in which the Murrah building bombing occurred, made a call one day to Mrs. Reno's office. I told them who I was, and I said I would like to speak to an assistant U.S. attorney. I was told, you can't. None is available. But the door has been shut from Miss Reno's office to me as the chief medical examiner forever.
But you will fight for this county grand jury that's looking at the bombing to look at...
Yes, I will. And if that doesn't happen, I'll continue to fight in any way I possibly can. My job as chief medical examiner is, among other things, to investigate deaths that occur in prison.
Well, Jordan also wants the local bombing grand jury to tour the Federal Transfer Center and see if it's possible for an inmate to hang himself, as the FTC officials claim. And Damon, there's a new law that was signed in February that would give the medical examiner immediate access to a death scene at the Federal Transfer Center. But Jordan says that the feds are trying to block that. What they want him to do is have access, if only if they say the death is suspicious.
All right, good job, Phyllis. Stay on it for us. Kirsten?
And Jesse Trinidad, Michael's brother, and his family have been waging a war to find out what really happened at the FTC for nearly 2 years now. Jesse Trinidad, who is a Salt Lake City attorney, says Jordan's efforts may be what's needed to finally get the truth out.
I think he senses and has experienced the same frustrations we have, to have been lied to have evidence destroyed, witnesses threatened, witnesses hidden. The actions of the United States Department of Justice in this matter stink.
Jesse Trinidad has appeared before the federal grand jury. He and his family have been campaigning throughout the country, even bringing their concerns to Capitol Hill. So the very latest tonight in the Trinidad case, Chief Medical Examiner Fred Jordan is asking that the bombing grand jury be allowed to look into the case.
A federal grand jury has been investigating Trinidad's death for the past 9 months, but so far no action has been taken. The Senate Judiciary Committee, as well as Amnesty International, are now involved in the case, and the Trinidad family has filed a federal lawsuit against the FBI, the Bureau of Prisons, and the Justice Department.